Welcome back, Chooms. My name is LastKnownMeal, and today in Cyberpunk 2077 we're gonna be taking a look at the latest new mods I have been using in my gameplay. Do keep in mind that most of these mods are going to be vehicle car mods, as well as the enemy overhaul mod, which I think is amazing and a must-have because it really brings a whole new perspective into combat, especially if you've been through the game multiple times and you're kinda bored with how enemies attack you and the movesets they have. Well, this mod is definitely going to be for you. And of course, before we begin, I'm going to show you which are the must-have mods you need to install before installing anything else. I already covered this in the past, but I'm going to also leave the link to all of the mods you're going to install, and that's pretty much it. But also keep in mind that you have to install these mods in the order I put them in the description below. Now, before we begin installing the mod which I want you to install, we're going to install must-have mods. And the reason why you're installing these mods is because you have a lot of scripts and frameworks people made, so these mods can actually work well. This is the problem because, well, CD Projekt Red never released a proper modding tool for the game. There is Redkit, but it's not as good as, for example, Redkit, which is actually released for The Witcher 2, which has all of the assets and things you can make in it. But of course, once you install these must-have mods, all of the other are going to be pretty much just install and that's it. It is very important to install these mods as I show you how they are. So basically, as they are posted in the description, you start from the top and you go install one by one. The first one we're going to install is Cyber Engine Tweaks. Of course, I'm not going to go too much into detail here what these mods do because I covered this in the past, and most of them are just basically frameworks without offering you something, to show off. So first off, as I said, Cyber Engine Tweaks is must-have mod, and once you go into the game for the first time, there is going to be an option where you can select which button you're going to assign to Cyber Engine Tweaks so you can basically start it. I recommend using the button tilde, which is under the escape button on your keyboard. After installing Cyber Engine Tweaks, you download Appearance Menu mod. After that, Red4ext, then Archive XL, then Tweak XL, then Redscript, then CyberCMD, then Codeware, then Input Loader, then Mod Settings, after that Native Settings UI, Equipment EX, Material and Texture Override. Yes, there is a lot of mods, but you actually have to install these. Just install them as I actually posted them in this video. And of course, you're going to also after this install Cooked Apps Nulled. This is going to be required for a lot of mods we're gonna be talking about. And after that, you also install Vehicle Manufacturer's Resource. This is important because we're gonna be installing a lot of car mods and, well, it's easier to do it that way. Now, because we do want to buy vehicles in this game properly and you want it to be lore friendly, we're also going to install Virtual Car Dealer. Virtual Car Dealer works also as a framework that allows you to basically have a page once you go onto your computer and based in your apartment or whatever, where you can buy those vehicles. Of course, some vehicles require a certain street cred and of course some eddies which you have to spend, but of course it is way easier this way. And after this, you're going to install Car Modification Shop. This is also great because this mod gives you an ability to tune cars, not too much, speed, brakes and all of that. It's not going to be visual style if that's what you're asking, but this is also important because a lot of other car mods actually depend on Car Modification Shop, so it's also good to have it. The first and biggest mod we're going to cover is called Enemies of Night City. This mod is amazing because it really overhauls most of the enemies and AI of those enemies within the game. One of the things people have been complaining and talking about is that fighting in this game can become kinda too easy, especially once your character is fully decked out and you have all of the latest cyberware and weapons upgraded to the fullest. Enemies are basically just going to be something you're gonna be going through relatively easy. But this mod's aim to actually change that, which is going to add a lot of new abilities and of course add certain traits and buffs and debuffs for enemies within the game. And most of those enemies, well, are going to have different things and different abilities which you can learn about once you scan those enemies. So before going into a mission or before going into a fight, it is very important to scan the enemies to see what their weaknesses are, and what abilities they're gonna be having, because fighting those enemies can be kinda tough with these mods. Like for example here, we can see when we scan this enemy that he has a lot of things we have to worry about, including Sandavistan, including armor, and fighting those enemies can prove a little bit tricky, so just shooting at someone who has maybe good armor is not going to be the best strategy possible, so you have to utilize something else, especially when it comes to different buffs, for example like fire or electricity, or if your weapon is going to have poison on it. This is very much, you know, depending on the character itself, or well, depending on the enemy you're gonna be fighting. Also, various cyber psychos have different abilities and are going to be a lot deadlier now. So if you're fighting cyber psychos with this mod, well, you better prepare, because things are going to be incredibly difficult. On the other hand, also normal enemies are going to have those abilities. So for example, once they hit you, and if they have a certain, let's say, buff on them, you're gonna be knocked out on the ground. So this gives you a little bit more planning for every single mission you do and every fight you initiate, because it's not going to be like enemies you can just basically run through and destroy them all. And it also gives extra abilities to Adam Smasher when you're fighting him. Now, I'm not going to show it because, well, spoilers, but of course, once you fight him, you're going to see what happens. Like, generally, Adam Smasher is going to be a lot faster now, and he's going to be, well, more difficult to destroy, because generally the vanilla boss fight with Adam Smasher is a little bit too easy, in my opinion. A lot of people have been saying that it's not really a challenge to defeat someone like Adam Smasher within the game, which of course is kinda difficult, because Adam Smasher is incredibly a strong character. Of course, this mod, or well, the aim of this mod is to also be lore friendly, so things that, you know, those enemies are going to have are going to be something from the game. And also they're gonna be using health potions now, or basically they're gonna be restoring their health once they drop below 60, there is a possibility for that. And all of those enemies are going to be separated into, well, different tiers. So you might run into an enemy which is tier 1, which doesn't have many things on them, but you might run into someone who is tier 3, who is fully equipped with armor and various other things that might destroy you. So yeah, I absolutely recommend this mod. It is amazing. It gives a whole new level of, like, let's say, details when it comes to fighting different enemies and how you approach those enemies in particular. So of course your playstyle has to change a little bit and adapt, so you basically survive, especially if you're gonna be playing this on higher difficulties in general. So before we install Enemies of Night City mod, there are going to be a few mods which you have to install first. Now those mods are going to be AI Netrunners Enhanced, Native Settings UI, which we already have because we installed it with the must-have mods, so you don't have to worry about this one, SDO, Scissors Difficulty Options, and Time Dilation Overhaul. So these mods are going to be a must before you install Enemies of Night City. Again, it's going to be placed in the description as I told you to install, so just go as the description tells you to install. And of course, because we already installed a lot of the must-have mods, you just pretty much have to download this AI Netrunners Enhanced. You don't have to worry about the files, the must-have files, because you already have them. Same with SDO, with Scissors Difficulty Options. You already have the must-have mods, and of course, Time Dilation Overhaul. You already have all of the mods which you need, except for Range Attack, Speed, Damage Fix, which we're also going to install right here. So just get this one before Time Dilation, and that's pretty much it. Next mod we're going to install is called Mecha For Female V. So if you want to look like an actual mecha and you want to look closer to Adam Smasher, this is one of the mods you have to get. Now do keep in mind that this, well, armor is not going to give you any special armor or abilities or anything like that. This is mostly for transmog. So once you basically add this into the game, once you install the mod, we're going to be going into Cyber Engine Tweak. So you're going to press your button, which under the keyboard if you chose that one, and you're going to copy this into console itself, and you're going to click enter. Once you basically have this, you're going to add this into your inventory. After that, the only thing you have to go is going to wardrobe and change it into transmog system there. I like the quality, I like how it looks, the details are very nice, and I'm definitely looking forward to see how this mod is going to, you know, be updated further. And once the bigger update happens, I will of course cover it in my newest videos. And now we're gonna be checking out various vehicle mods which are added in the game, because I think there is a lot of them. And if you're thinking about lore, well, all of these, or most of these car manufacturers are in Cyberpunk 2020 lore. The reason why they're not in 2077 is because, well, you try licensing like every single car brand in the world. That's going to cost a lot of money. So of course that's why they're not in, but we can put them on in the mod. So the first one is going to be the Mercedes-Benz 190E. I think this car is amazing. I mean, it kind of fits like the old-timer, very retro playstyle if you want to go in that way. Handling is good, speed is alright. I mean, it's not the fastest car in the world, but of course it's going to be as the car was in real life. Details are nice. I actually really like how this is done in that way. So the trunk is not really going to open, but the front is. But overall, I like how the car looks. The details are amazing, and definitely a must-have mod if you actually want to just add more cars into the game and you're bored with the vehicles the game already has and you want something else. The first one is definitely the Mercedes-Benz one. Next car mod, which we're going to talk about, is going to be the 67 Chevrolet Impala. I like this car. It is absolute like classic if we're talking about real life cars, and honestly adding it into Cyberpunk 2077, it kind of fits, because generally the retro versus futurism is kind of blended together when it comes to style and design in Cyberpunk in general. So having this one is kind of nice. The vehicle is incredibly fast, much faster than Mercedes if you're counting in that, and of course if you want to get it in green version you can. As I showed you before, only thing you have to do is go up to your apartment or find a computer generally in the world and you buy them from the car shop, and that's pretty much it. They're going to be in your inventory and you call them as you would with any vehicle whatsoever. Generally, as it was with the previous one, I mean, the details on the cars are amazing, and honestly I like how this looks. You cannot open the trunk, you cannot open the front of the vehicle, which is alright, but still, you don't have to if you just want to drive and use it that way. I definitely recommend doing it, because at least when it comes to details from within the inside of the vehicle and the outside, it is nice. Next car we're going to talk about, and I think this is going to be a favorite for a lot of people, is the Quadra Turbo KS edition. So this is kind of a fully tuned version of Quadra. So if you want something like this, I honestly think this is great. And especially if you're going for that more lore friendly vibe and you don't want, for example, Impala or Mercedes, you can use this one. It comes in different colors, styles and everything, which you can choose again from the car shop on a computer. Just change color and that's going to be pretty much it. I think this looks great. When it comes to quality and design, it is very nice. The wheels and everything. It even has some Easter eggs, like for example this roach one on the side, like you can see the sticker. I like it. It is really cool, and I wish this was something which was available in the game already, you know, having the ability to tune a car like that. But of course with this you can add it in this way. I'm gonna be using this for quite some time now, because besides how the car looks, it also handles really well. The speed is sometimes too much maybe, but overall the handling and the braking is working very nicely, so it fits maybe if you're going for that street kid play style, or if you just want to spice things up a little bit. I recommend this one, and of course check it out, it is amazing. And the last vehicle we're going to talk about today is the Rolls-Royce Wraith. Yes, this has been added in the game through a mod. And I must say, when it comes to detail, when it comes to overall how this vehicle was done, I think it's one of the best detailed vehicles within the game itself. Why? Well, first off, if you open up the trunk, you're going to have, well, things which are gonna be lying around like weapons, which are, you know, from Cyberpunk 2077. In the front, you can also see the engine. It's incredibly well detailed. It looks crazy good. the inside of the vehicle is also highly detailed. If you, for example, look at the roof, you're going to see some of those, like, I don't even know what this is, like stars, some diamonds, whatever. I don't know, I don't own a Rolls Royce, so I wouldn't know. But of course, it looks great. And another bonus, if you look at the, side mirrors and the side glass of the car and the window, there is going to be an animation running through it, which is actually showing like the bulletproof glass, which I think is a very nice detail and something that maybe should have been for some of the cars within the game itself. I honestly recommend this one if you're going for a corpo playthrough or something like that. Like, the vehicle handles really well, it looks good, and it sounds also really well within the game. So adding it is definitely a must in my book because, well, just how good this looks, I mean, damn. So how do you install these mods? Well, I'm going to show you first how to get all of the must-have mods within your game files and how to use them. So I downloaded all of the must-have mods right here, and every single one of them is going to come in a zipped file. So what you have to do is open it up. So this one, we're going to be starting from the bottom and work our way up. This is actually how you download it in the order I already talked about in the description. So this first one is going to be Cyber Engine tweaks. So once you open this up, here you have your main Cyberpunk directory. All you have to do is drag and drop. That's it. And of course, if you have anything, like for example, I already have some of these mods, just replace the file in the description and it's not going to be an issue. This is not going to overwrite any one of these like files from the base game. This is just adding new files in this one, so don't worry about this. After you install this one, we're gonna be going for appearance menu mod. This is going to have a few things, like for example, archive and bin. Again, what you have to do is drag and drop. And for every single one of these files right here, like for example, Red4ext, we drag and drop. Now after that, we have archive Excel, and you can see that this file already has Red4ext, so that's why we had to install Red4ext before we installed archive Excel. Again, the process is going to be the same, drag and drop. Like for example, tweak Excel, drag and drop here, and we're going to do the rest of basically what I show here, like for the other mods. Like, this is basically it when it comes to modding Cyberpunk in general. Like for example, here we can see how I'm adding these files, like Codeware, R6, Red4ext, boom, it's going to be right here. Input loader, same, just drag and drop it. Mod settings, Red4ext, boom. That's why we had to, as I said, to do that, because, well, Red4ext works as a framework for a lot of these mods. Native settings UI, drag and drop. Equipment EX, drag and drop. I'm going to also show you one more thing. For example, material and texture override. So generally, some mod authors are not going to give you like the exact thing you want. It's not going to be drag and drop for every mod, but for most, most popular mods, it's going to be streamlined that way. So here we have this file, material and texture override. We're going to double click it. So here we have archives. What you have to do is go to archive PC mod. And this is going to be your main directory for a lot of mods. So we have archive PC mod. So not this one, because this one is the backup of my other mods. So go into this one, and only thing you have to do is do this. Just drag and drop this file, because it has archive file, into archive PC mod here. It's going to be added. So now we're going back to our main directory here. So here we have, for example, as I said, cooked apps null. We're going to drag and drop this here. Same for ranged attacks, bin, drag and drop. It's going to be the same for everything else, like time dilation. This is like pretty much it. If there's already, like, just replace it. This is from my other mods. SDO scissors difficulty, bin, drag and drop. And of course AI Netrunners Enhanced, drag and drop, which we're going to of course need. Virtual car dealer, same process. And of course for the car modification shop, same process. Again, for every other mod we're going to install after this, like the mods which I showed you, vehicle mods and so on. These are the mods you need, and after that just download the rest of the mods, and that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else, and just drag and drop like it was in this scenario. And also for the end, I want to show you an amazing tool which has been released, and it's called Mod Remover with full backup. One of the biggest questions I always get is, how do I remove mods? If I make a mistake, I do have to reinstall the game, which files do I remove? And this can become a little bit problematic for people who don't know how to navigate files within Cyberpunk, so you might delete a part of the game and not a mod in general. So this is incredibly nice because it just makes things a lot easier. So what you have to do with this is download and extract this to the main Cyberpunk directory. And I know people worry about bad files in general or script files like these. Don't worry about this. I tested it on my PC, it works great, and there were not any issues or some changes within the registry of the Windows or anything, so don't have to worry about that. So once you download and extract this to your Cyberpunk directory, as the mod says, or well, the tool says, you have to run Cyberpunk 2077 disable all mods.bat by double clicking it. This is going to, well, remove all of the mods which you have, and it's going to bring your files to how they were once you install the game, you know, vanilla. After that, you need to validate game files. If you have the game on Steam, Epic or GOG, just validate those files. I'm going to show you how to do it on GOG, for example, but it's going to be a very much similar process for Steam or Epic in general, so you don't have to worry about that. So once your files are validated again, you can start the game normally, and it's not going to have any mods whatsoever, so you can start modding fresh. This is useful because Cyberpunk is getting a lot of hotfixes and patches, and every single time once that happens, it breaks everything and you get like a script error once you start the game. That's all mod related. So if you're getting any script error before you actually just, you know, start the game, just it's going to be the mod and nothing else. So after that is done, you run the game or you start modding again. This is honestly one of the best tools which has been released for this title, and definitely a must if you're installing a lot of mods. And this is everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more, and tell me down below which mods are you using and which mods you want to see in the future in this list. But do keep in mind, I covered a lot of mods in the past, which you can see in my previous modding videos. I'm also working on a huge Cyberpunk 2077 overhaul mod list, which is going to overhaul pretty much every single bit of the game, and this mod list is going to be huge, so I need a lot more time to finish everything up, test the mods, and make it easier to follow for everyone who are just getting into Cyberpunk 2077 modding. But of course, I will keep you notified when that video is out. So again, as I said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button for more, and also check us out on Twitter and Discord, and huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out. Stay classy everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.